That stuff's good. Hey everybody, Dave here. Hope you're having an awesome day. So, one of my viewers reached out and they said, you got to do something with the Hubba Bubba bubble tape. And I was like, oh yeah, that stuff's super cool. I actually ran over to Walmart and they had it. And I was like, we're going to make something out of this. So, come on, let's do it. Man, that gum is good. Okay, so first things first, we got to get these stickers off of here. And man, they left a ton of residue. But that's all right, because what I use is Goo Gone. And I'll just squirt a little bit on there, smear it around with my finger, let it sit for about 15, 20 seconds, and then it just wipes right off. And then I'll take a little bit of wet sand, because I'm going to be gluing stuff to this later. And then I've got these awesome legs. It's a Funko Legion Titanfall toy. And I use the arm on my Tic Tac build, so you can check that out. But I'm kind of just trying to find a cool little part that can act as a joint for the leg. And like this applesauce cap is way too big, so I think I'm going to go back to this. It's actually a little tank gear or something. Had a little lip on there, so I need to sand that off. And then once I got that sanded off, I think that's going to work out really nice. But I need to drill a hole through there. Grabbed my channel locks and drilled a hole, cleaned that little guy up, and fits really nice. It's almost like it was made for it. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this on to the leg itself, use a little baking soda, and that will help kind of just hold everything together. Now I've got these guns. They're from a Final Faction toy from the Dollar Tree, and I had painted them up for another project, but didn't end up using them. So I'm just trying to find the placement of things. So I'm looking at the legs, the guns. Do I want the legs up higher, the legs up lower? I'm just trying to think through that process. So right now I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole through the leg. And I'm just going to make a little peg system here. I'm trying to figure out how do I want to attach the legs. I like this little peg system because it allows me to take the legs on and off, and I can build and paint without having to deal with the legs. Now I want to put some polystyrene kind of as a circle or a half circle. So I'm just using a little stencil there, drawing that, and then I just hand cut this, just slow and steady, no problem. You really only have to score it, because then once you score it, you can kind of just bend the polystyrene and it snaps right out. It's actually pretty great. So I'm going to clean this up just a little bit, but it actually came out pretty nice. I found the halfway points, and I'm just going to slice that in half. Again, just score it, snap it, good to go. I went ahead and snapped it one more time because I thought it'd be kind of cool to have like a quarter top part there. I've got all my little scrap bits, some beads, some little Gundam parts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start laying this out and thinking through how I want this to look. I was originally thinking maybe like a little eye up on the top right corner there, but I ended up switching that up. So I got this Tamiya thin set, and the thin set doesn't glue to all plastics, and as you can see, the beads fell off. It glued great to the polystyrene, but on the plastic there, not so much. So I'm just going to super glue those on later. Just gluing down this little quarter piece here, and got just another little strip of scrap polystyrene just to add some little interest. And now I'm taking these little beads that are going to act as rivets, and I've just got a little glob of super glue on that old lid there. And I'll just dip the bead in and then dab it on, and it sticks pretty nice. Okay, so that's looking pretty great. I added a little wire there just to add some interest. I think I'm going to glue this in later after I paint everything, so I'm just kind of dry fitting it there. I was thinking it'd be kind of cool to add another little extra wire in the leg here, so just kind of drilling out some holes, and that's kind of what that ended up looking like. And again, I'm going to wait till I glue those in. All right, I think this is ready to paint up, so I'm going to use this green here, sprayed it. Looks pretty cool. Now, I want this whole top half to be kind of a gunmetal, so I'm using this true metal from AK. And the bottom portion here, I didn't feel like spray painting the whole thing, so I just sprayed a little paint into the cup and painted the feet the same green, and then painted the rest of the part that true metal just so it looked kind of cool and tight all together. Now I'm going to do a little wash over the entire thing. I do this on almost all of my builds. Just lather on a good wash and then take a paper towel, wipe it off, and it leaves all kinds of cool weathering and stuff in the nooks and crannies. I got this really cool chrome marker pen, and it is great for doing little details, but it died on me while I was working on it. So here's some custom decals that I made. I bought some water transfer decal paper, and it's working pretty nice, except for on this curve. It's giving me a little bit of problem, so I need to come up with a solution for that. So I'm going to use this two-part solution, the micro scale, and what it does is you'll put part 1 down, and that's to lay the decal down, and then you'll put part 2, and it actually softens the decal, and it allows it to kind of stretch and form. So I think this will work out pretty nice. Here's another little cool decal I made. And then I'm just scratching away just to give it some chipping and weathering. And it's turning out pretty cool. I really like that. I'm going to do a little bit more chipping and scratching on the skull there. And where the little cable plugs in, I thought it might be cool if I add a couple of little red accents, almost like it's a anchor point for that to plug right in. Got some down and dirty rust. This stuff is amazing. A little bit goes a long way, so I'm just going to paint in some rust in all the little nooks and crannies. And I don't want to forget about these magnets, so I'm going to hot glue those. Those are what holds the little guns on. For the base, one of my viewers said, what if you flip the base upside down since you weren't loving that groove? And it may give the illusion of it floating. So I think that might be kind of cool. And then I got this great idea to use this lightweight spackle. I thought, this will be cool. I can add texture. Oh, I don't know if this is a dumb idea or what, but it was a pain in the neck. I eventually got it to smear onto the wood, but it took a good long while. And I ended up just taking a wet paintbrush to smooth everything out. And then once that dried, I went ahead and just coated the whole thing with some Mod Podge and got that all coated. And then once I got that coated, I took some dirt from my backyard and just kind of sprinkled it again to give some nice little texture. I've got smaller sand, bigger sand, some rocks from my backyard, and I put this one down, and as I was looking at it, I ended up gluing a few more here and there, and I'm going to let that dry. And while that dries, I'm going back to kind of the weathering. Again, my paint marker ran out, so I'm going to go ahead and just use some silver paint and a paintbrush, hit all the little edges. And for the eye, I went ahead and drilled a hole through the container, and I'm going to use a little T-light LED. Now, I'm not going to show you the whole process of this because I have another video. I'll leave a link for that. But essentially, you just use the T-light as your switch, and you can rewire them really easy. Again, I'll leave a link at the very end of this video and also below in the description. But it gives a really cool effect, and it's not that hard to do. And it's pretty cheap, actually. So, all right, that's dry. And so I'm going to go ahead and paint this out black. And then once I got that painted out black, I'm going to do a brown base. I started with a darker brown. I just want to show you that because it looked like a swirl of chocolate on there. It looked pretty great. And once that dried, I did another lighter brown dry brush over the entire thing. And then I wanted to try this. I did this lighter brown, and I kind of just randomly and carefully selected little parts. Not dry brushing the whole thing, but some of the little rocks that were sticking up a little higher. And I thought it added some interest. I got a light gray here. I'm going to paint up these rocks. Then once that's dry, and I got all those rocks painted up, I'm going to just do another lighter gray and dry brush those. And it really pops that texture and makes it pretty great. Adding some just Elmer's glue, smearing that around. And I want to do this because I want to add a little bit of greenery. So I've just got this ground up grass, and I'm just kind of laying it around. Shake that off. And then I got a couple little tufts of grass. So I'm going to go ahead and strategically place a couple of these tufts of grass throughout the different areas of rocks. And I think we're going to wrap this one up, and I'm going to get it all set up. I can't stop chewing this stuff. It is so good. It's as good as I remember as a kid. Anyways, this thing turned out so fun. It turned out way better than I thought. When I started building it, I was like, I don't know, this thing might be goofy, but I am like super pleased how this thing turned out. And yeah, go make something awesome. Buy some bubble tape and make something cool out of it. So let's do some turnaround shots of this thing. And as always, it's a great day to be a toy nerd. Have a great one.